Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. So as you might have learned or heard, or someone might have told you, we are having our IAs next week. We understand that quarter 3 was a whole 4 weeks ago, but we really want to give you an opportunity to shine and show off everything you learned in quarter 3, which is so much, and you guys were doing so well. So think of this as an opportunity to show off what you know. Because it was almost 4 weeks ago, well, it will be 4 weeks ago, since we had quarter 3, we're going to spend the next 2 days reviewing. I don't want you to worry so much about how it's going to affect your grade. We're doing this as a chance to see what you've learned. It gets a chance for me to see how, what I need to touch back on to make sure you understand the big principles. But I don't want you to go into full-on panic mode. But I do want you to review your notes. You have a bunch of notes from quarter 3, so go back through those. Today is going to be a quick review video. The one thing I will say is that I am more than happy to go through the entire multiple choice and open response section, specifically the the OER worksheet, because that is what I'm grading for mastery. If you come on the Zoom call, I will walk you through every single question. It's an easy way to get an A. And check in with your classmates and see how they're doing with the same material. But I will say I've been really intentional about the questions we have put on there to help you prepare for your IA that's coming up. So please hop on the Zoom call. If you have not already, please pause me and go do your notebook quiz. It's due at 11 o'clock. I will not be taking submissions after 11. It will still allow you to submit it, but I won't be looking at those submissions. So please make sure you submit before 11 a.m. All right, so jumping into today, I'm going to share my screen with you. Riddle time. When my father was 31, I was 8. Now he's twice as old as me. How old am I? I am 23. A little bit of math problems in there. Today's riddle: what comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years? Think on that one. You're gonna need your notebook, pen, pencil. Make sure you have those because you'll only be taking a couple notes. Today is just your quarter 3 IA review. So make sure you title any of your notes, you're taking that. How to be successful, your attendance assignment, which is your notebook quiz. It is a quiz grade, so make sure that gets done. Again, if you haven't done it, pause me, go do it. It's due at 11 a.m. You also have 2 things: your open-ended response worksheet, which is the attachment right below the general class link, and your multiple choice review, which is a Google form, so you can instantly get those results back and see how you did. That is graded on completion. Make sure you're getting, your mastery assignment is actually your worksheet. I apologize for that. All right, just some review. Today we're going to focus on 2 big parts. We're going to be focusing on food webs, which should be old hat to you, and we're going to focus on cellular respiration and photosynthesis. Those are going to be 2 big components of your IA next week. So food webs. I have a solid feeling that you guys know this bit, but food webs, anytime we talk about a food web, we're talking about the transfer of energy across organisms. So as you know, we always start at our bottom, which is our first or our primary producers. Our primary producers are autotrophs, meaning they make their own food. They're the only organisms that do photosynthesis. As we move our way up to grasshoppers and squirrels, and eventually to kit foxes and golden eagles, we get our primary consumers, which only eat plants. We get our secondary consumers, which eat our primary consumers, and we get our tertiary or apex predators that eat everything below it, but nothing eats them. We also know as we move up a food web, we lose energy. And make sure you're able to identify, well, if I took away this ground squirrel, how is that going to affect the organisms around it? If you take away the ground squirrel, the grass actually might benefit because there's less organisms eating it. However, kit fox, golden eagle, it's the golden eagle's only food source. So you would see a decrease in the golden eagle. You might also see a decrease in the kit fox. So you just need to make sure you can analyze the food web. Oh, one last thing. I also want to remind you that in plants, so in your producer, your primary producers or autotrophs, the arrows are always pointing away. Nothing ever points towards it because it is the one that's making all of the energy for everyone else. It's not eating anything, it's getting its energy from the light. Cellular respiration and photosynthesis. That involves a little bit more information. Make sure you know that cellular respiration happens in both plants and human cells. So it happens in both plants and human cells. We're focusing on this one right here. We're producing water and carbon dioxide, and we're using glucose and O2. The glucose and O2 is made from photosynthesis. So it's this cyclical cycle. The whole purpose of cellular respiration is to make ATP so we can do things. The reason I can sit and talk to you, the reason you can type and watch this is because your body is making ATP to let you sit up, to let you breathe, to let you think. So the goal is to make that ATP. This is all happening in the cytoplasm and mitochondria. A reminder that as we go through the process of cellular respiration, we start, in the cytoplasm with glycolysis, and we finish in our mitochondria with oxidative phosphorylation and the Krebs cycle. If you're doing cellular respiration and we're thinking about plants, it's a big molecule, so when we use it, it's going to cause your cell to decrease in mass. So a plant will decrease in mass if photosynthesis is low and cellular respiration is higher. And just as a reminder, glycolysis happens outside the mitochondria. Both citric acid or Krebs cycle happens inside, and oxidative phosphorylation happens also inside. Quick thing, might be helpful to write this down. Cellular respiration can happen without a mitochondria. However, you don't get as much energy or ATP, but it can happen without the mitochondria. You can only do glycolysis. Might want to write that down. Hint, hint. Photosynthesis is our alternative process. Photosynthesis happens only in plant cells. We're using, sorry about that. If I knew how to edit, I would cut this part out, but it was just my neighbor. So going back to photosynthesis, photosynthesis is only, sorry, it just says both. It happens only in plants. We know that you need a chloroplast, and only plants have chloroplasts, which is why they're green. It uses water and carbon dioxide, and it produces glucose and O2. Again, the reverse process of cellular respiration. And the goal of this one is to make glucose. Glucose is the plant's food. It's also our food. Plants are making their own food, so when they do cellular respiration, they already have the glucose made. We eat the plants or eat something that is eating the plant so we can get that glucose. Again, it happens in the chloroplast. And in photosynthesis, glucose is a really big molecule, C6H12O6. It's 24 different atoms compared to oxygen, which is only 2. So it's a large molecule. And because it's a large molecule, as the plant does more photosynthesis, it actually causes the plant to increase in mass. So something to keep in mind. If our plant is increasing in mass, it's probably because there's more photosynthesis. If it's decreasing, maybe because it's in the dark, less photosynthesis, meaning it's more cellular respiration, so we're breaking down that glucose. So those are the two big topics we're going to be talking about today. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to do two things. You're going to do the IA review multiple choice. So we've broken it down into multiple choice section because that's going to be a big part of your IA, and the open-ended response, or the OER worksheet. The IA review is a Google form, and I'll show you, it should be just on this link right there. It's a Google form, it's all multiple choice, so go through and do those. The one thing I want to say is this little blurb I wrote. So complete these questions without using your notes. While I cannot make sure you are not using your notes or the internet, you are doing yourself a disservice because you will not know what you do and don't know. And so again, if you go through and use the internet, and you probably could figure these out by Googling them, it's not going to do you any favors when it comes to the actual IA where you don't have access to those materials. So go through, do the ones you do them all, figure out which ones you don't know. So when you get the results, you can figure, well, I know food web, so I don't need to review that more, but I need to focus up on cellular respiration or photosynthesis. And so just make sure you do that. The other thing is it's not graded for accuracy, it's just graded on completion. So do yourself a favor there. The other one will be right below, it'll be just a Google form. But, I'm sorry, not a Google form, a Google worksheet. So you'll answer your open-ended response questions again. Again, hop into the Google, the Zoom call. I'd love to see you would love to help you do the entire worksheet so you don't have to worry about doing it on your own. And so you can ensure that you do phenomenally on your IA next week. Miss you guys all. You're wonderful. Stay awesome and stay safe. And I will see you on Thursday or in the Zoom call.